Hello.
What?
I don't know. I don't know what that was. I was going to say hello and hi at the same time. So it was hello. I hope this isn't setting a trend for the evening.
We're just getting started. This
Okay,
is
Google,
episode 1 for the night.
Turn on office lights.
Ooh, I hope she triggered all of y'all shit.
I'm sure I did.
What about, hey Siri? Hey Alexa?
Okay, Google, turn on office lights. Thank you. Anyway.
How's it going? How's your week been? How's life? How's whatever? You.
Me?
On the other side of this room. I mean, we can't have, they're not going to answer us.
You just sit here in silence waiting for them to tell us their day.
I mean, you're more than welcome to send us that response on the socials or whatever.
Just record like a 30-minute video of you telling us how your week and your day has been.
You know, and if it would be therapeutic for you to like just get some shit off your chest. Let us have
your
it.
Confessions.
Let us have it. Let us have some shit. Like give us all the tea. And then like if you just need to like vent to somebody, we'll take that too.
Yeah.
We can be that for you. Because you're going to send it. And whether or not we watch it, you don't know.
Yeah.
We could watch 5 seconds of it and be like, I don't give a shit about this person's feelings. I'm just kidding.
So mean.
I'm just kidding. We wouldn't do that. We're here for you.
Anyways. It's been fine. Busy, work, going on a retreat next week. As of the recording of this, when this episode drops, it'll be the day before we leave. So I'll report back with how it went. I'm kind of nervous. I'm excited, but I'm kind of nervous.
She's
just because it's
the
people.
Bags already.
She's like, I got an early start.
Oh no, she decided not to.
But yeah, I'm nervous but excited. It's not like I don't talk to these people every day already anyway. But seeing people in the flesh, it's like, ooh, they're real. Right. These are real human beings.
You look at them and you're like, I've told you
I wasn't being catfished for the last 2 years. Oh my God.
These are the people that I have shared secrets with.
Right.
You know things about me.
Right. Like these people know things about me and I'm just like,
are you judging me looking at me right now that you've seen me in person now?
Honestly, I think we're all very similar in like we do have like introverts and extroverts, but I think like as far as like, I don't know, mental illness, we're all quite similar. We're all anxious. We're all like, half of us have ADHD, if not more than half. It'll be a fun weekend.
I'm excited for you. I can't wait to get the recap.
My sister knows. Like, I haven't told family what's going down. They know I'm leaving. Who are you going with, friends?
They probably think it's me.
No?
I
don't know. Nobody's asked. Anyway. Because I just know it'll be like, is this a cult? Like my sister literally goes, sounds like you might get murdered, but I hope you have fun.
Right. Just let them.
I'm like, I think it'll be all right.
Are you sharing your location with me or your sister? Preferably me, if not both, because I'm closer.
My sister always has my location. Okay. Like, it's always turned on for her. But I can.
I mean, you don't have to. But I am closer than your sister, so. I mean, worst case scenario, she can call me and be like, hey, shit's going down.
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to do something about that.
But I think it'll be fine. I'll also probably, we're allowed to like share the address with like our emergency contact. And since my normal emergency contact will be with me, I'll probably give you the address to the actual cabin. So you'll at least like know where we're staying.
Right. You got a new thing.
What
The yellow submarine.
Oh, yeah. It's a jar.
I see that.
It's like
it's just upside down.
Yeah, it's an airproof jar. I got it at the Goodwill.
I like it.
Somebody donated like a bunch of different ones, and that was the one I liked the best. So
I like
for
it.
$5 hairs.
$5 hairs.
They had a sloth one. No, it wasn't a sloth. What was it? It was supposed to be a beaver, and it looked like a sloth when at yesterday when I was there.
Make sure you get all the dog residue off of those.
She's like, "Don't worry, I will. It'll really smell like me."
They love that. Anyways, is that it for you? Is that all that's been going on?
Guess so.
You got new glasses.
I did get new glasses.
They are hella cute.
These are blue lights. These came from China for $50. And then I got 2 other pairs. I went to America's Best, and I got 2 pairs for $107 with the exam.
Nice.
So I don't wear the other ones too much because they're a little bit bigger than the ones I had on earlier.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like they fall easily. I probably need to get them adjusted. But I was like, it was the kooky bitch in me that picked out these glasses, I think.
Well, the ones that I've seen are real cute.
They are cute. They're like, what do you call them? Like octagonal?
Yeah.
These aren't. These are like rounded at the bottom, but they're also like heavy duty. I feel like I can see better out of the blue light ones that I ordered versus the ones I got from that place better.
Right.
But whatever. I think that wearing the blue lights, like sometimes I'll end up wearing them all day because I'm like away. I'm like at the laptop and then I go and do something and then I come back and I'm like, I might as well just leave them on instead of swapping all the time.
Yeah.
But I feel like it might be giving me headaches.
It's possible.
Wearing them all day. I don't know.
It's possible.
But yeah, other than new glasses, meeting friends, and getting ready for that whole experience, I haven't really had anything else going on. And I've just been still coloring, so.
Well, I thought about coloring, but then I was like, that's one more thing that's going to keep me from sitting down and writing podcast episodes earlier than the last possible second, which...
That's exactly what happens to me.
Which, I had all mine done by Thursday.
I sent my last notes this morning.
I saw. Which, that's a record for me, I think, maybe.
I knew that one wouldn't take me long because I knew just by pre-looking at the topic, we've already covered most of that. So.
Which one did you send? Hold on, I'll look.
The Appalachian.
Oh, yeah.
Folklore. So I only have like 3 stories that one I think we've talked about before, but
that'll be coming to you guys on the 21st.
Yeah. But you know what? You can stand a refresher. I should have brushed my hair. It is like feeling some type of way. Anyway.
Well, we've had some stuff going on. It's been a month since we've recorded, and I've had a lot go on in this month.
Yeah.
It's been scary. It's been rough. We've had some things going on within our little family.
Your little family unit.
And but we're powering through it. We're making adjustments and we're good.
Yeah.
We've had soccer. That's an ongoing thing for the next couple of weeks. We only have like 2 more weekends left.
Damn. That's
yeah.
It. I feel like y'all just started.
I know. But we only have 2 more weekends left. We played this morning. It was raining the entire time. We were soaked to the bone.
And it did end up like storming.
We didn't get that.
Oh, okay. I think that was like at about like 11:30ish, 12ish.
I don't know. Probably.
I was like, if they're still out there, they won't be much longer.
No, our game was at 9:30 this morning. So We got soaked.
I was still laying in the bed.
We had pictures this morning too, so I had to be there early.
Oh. Did they still do them in the rain?
Yeah.
Oh.
But it was an all right game. All the kids were miserable and didn't want to be playing in the rain.
I'm sure.
It is what it is. Everybody was freezing. Let's see what else. Oh, I got an early Mother's Day present. Mother's Day is next weekend.
Yeah.
But I got an early Mother's Day present because it is going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a massage tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
TJ went and got one yesterday from someone here local, and went ahead and got me, booked me one for tomorrow.
Let me know how it goes.
He said I got the latest one that I could get so that you could still sleep in.
Yeah.
Knowing that, I'll be here late tonight.
Yeah.
But so I'm pretty excited about that. She did like the whole cupping thing on him, and now he's got like
the cupping marks,
bruises on his neck and his back and his shoulders. Like this morning, one of the moms was like, he had walked off and she goes, "Does he have a birthmark on his neck or something that I've never noticed?" And I was like, "Oh no." She goes, "Well, I didn't want to say anything in case he was self-conscious about it." And I was like, no.
Bless her heart.
I was like, no, he went for a massage yesterday and they did the cupping thing.
Yeah.
So he's got the bruises or whatever.
Yeah, I think those, because that chiropractor I used to watch a lot, she does cupping sometimes. And I think, the bruising will last, I think they say, 7 to 10 days, something like that.
Yeah. It's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, and then there's something that you can get that, athletes use that help clear up bruising or something. I don't know. It's some sort of ointment or something that you can get to help clear it up sooner, but most people just kind of wait it out.
I'm kind of anxious to see if she does it on me tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Let me know how it goes. I've been wanting... Oh, that's what I forgot. I forgot to get nail polish from over at the store.
Well,
I was just looking at my crusty nails and I was like...
We'll make a snack run and stuff in a little bit. So, but no, I think that's been the extent of my life here lately. It's just trying to switch modes, as far as my family, and get us in a good place, and fighting with the teenager over school and stuff, because it's almost over and we're still failing a couple classes.
Lord.
She had the audacity to text me yesterday and was like, "I brought my grade in one of my classes up," and I'm like, "Okay." She's like, "It's a 40 something now," and I'm like, "That's still an F,
girl.
Did you expect for me to praise you?"
Right.
I think it upset her that I wasn't like, "Good job." No, you brought it up still, maybe 10 points.
Yeah.
That's still failing. You're going to have to do credit recovery or something now.
Oh my God, credit recovery.
And what the stupid thing about it is, I get it, but even if you do credit recovery, you just get a D.
Oh yeah.
You don't get a full grade.
Right. And it's on your transcript that you took credit recovery. Because whenever, honestly, I feel like Maddie, I feel like she's having the same high school experience I did, because I did not do well in my classes.
Well, it blows my mind because school wasn't necessarily easy for me.
I hated it.
I didn't necessarily enjoy being there.
Yeah.
I was there so I could play sports. I was there because I had to be, but I don't know that I ever brought home a C or lower on a report card. I think I was an A-B student.
If I got A's and B's, my parents were shocked.
I don't, and Maddie has the potential to be an A-B student.
Yeah.
She has the ability to be an A-B student.
Yeah.
She just doesn't do the work. She does this whole, I don't understand it, so I'm just not going to do it, or I just don't feel like doing it. I don't want to do it, so I'm just not going to. And then we spend the last half of the year playing catch up when it's too damn late.
How did you have a child that is just me? But then I went on to college and I graduated cum laude with my associates.
Well, here's my fear is that no college is going to want her.
I didn't like have too many issues. It just depends on what she wants to do. And honestly, I would almost.
If she has her choice, she wants to do like art. She wants to be an art major. She wants to be a tattoo artist.
Yeah. Honestly, I would save my money for my apprenticeship and practice.
I still think that she needs a solid art type degree so she can go and study the different.
Yeah, I mean, even if she was going for some sort of certificate versus like an actual degree,
right?
Because honestly, at this point, I just think college is like, I don't use my degrees.
No, but
and I feel like, especially as like a teenager, whenever I was going to for my photography degree, it does feel very much like, you know, you're being taken advantage of by a loan company.
Yes.
So like I would, but
if
she's gonna get like scholarships or anything, she needs better grades.
Yeah. But like, think of it in terms of this. It doesn't matter in this day and age, getting a job, any kind of job, anything outside of a bullshit minimum wage entry level job. The majority of jobs, I'll say that, require you to have at least a 2-year degree in literally anything. Yeah, you could have a photography degree and then apply for a job as a loan assistant, and they're going to take it because you've got an associate's degree. You know,
and I just think that that's bullshit.
But you've got to have. You've got to have a degree somehow to get a job. That's the one thing that I can say. I wish I had finished school just for that matter, because I could have a much better paying job than I do if I had a 2-year degree. If I had a 2-year degree, I'd probably still be working at the not the last job, but the job before that.
Yeah. But I don't know. I wish I'd have saved myself the trouble, but that's neither here nor there.
I would like for her to go get
especially with like
education on art.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that a higher education is bad, but I would just caution with regards to like the loans and stuff, and make sure that she's not getting into like a predatory loan. Because I very much feel that happened to me.
I just think that it would do her good to be able to, and I hate to make it sound so elementary, but learn to draw. Yeah.
Like learn
shading.
And I mean, at this point, honestly, YouTube is free.
True. But she's more of a
visual, hands-on, yeah.
Have somebody in front of me type dude. If I learned anything from school at home with COVID.
Have you considered, we have an art league, and I think they do workshops and stuff. I can get information on it and see, because like one of our UPS drivers is part of the art league.
Yeah, give me information on that. That might be something.
And I know that they just did their like their awards and stuff for they had an art show, and they just did their annual like awards and stuff.
Oh. Also, side note, different subject kinda. This past week they had kind of like an open house type situation for rising middle schoolers. Oh. Tell me how I now have a 16-year-old and a middle schooler.
I don't know. I feel like it's a hate crime.
You know who else? Well, I can't tell you that on here. There was someone else that has a child that I didn't realize was the same age as my middle.
That's our age?
Yeah. That we graduated with.
Did we like them?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah. Like
somebody we graduated with has been coming into the shop.
Hold on.
We've been doing his stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll have to tell you, because he was telling some tales. Not anything bad or anything. It was just so funny, because he was like, do you remember teen clubs? Like hurricanes. Daniel was like, I never went to those places. I was like, my mama wouldn't even let me jump on a trampoline.
We knew the
I
owners.
was not going to a teen club.
We knew the owners. Her that lived across the street, that was her uncle.
Oh, yeah. But it was just so funny because he brought that up. He was like, I couldn't get girls in high school to date me.
I need to know who
so
this
I was going to teen clubs. But he's got like a super successful business and he seems to be doing well.
What is happening?
I don't know where. There's my Teams.
I can't even get mine to
I'll
come
send
up.
you a Teams message of his name. Hell. Current profile.
There we go.
I guess Teams bought Skype.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm all set. Got it. Yeah, I did know that.
I didn't realize that her oldest was the same age as. I thought he was younger.
I thought he was younger, but I mean, it makes sense. She just had another one not too long ago, and he's her
like
husband,
toddler size.
Yeah, like her husband comes into the shop every once in a while, usually around.
God, I hadn't even thought about that guy in forever.
Yeah, I didn't either until he walked into the shop, and I was like, he looks familiar. And then he's like talking, and I was like, he sounds familiar.
I saw somebody.
And then he said something about graduating when we graduated, and I was like, oh, okay, I know who you are.
I saw this guy.
He claimed to remember me, but I don't think he did.
I saw this guy in.
Who the fuck is that?
Okay, so he was younger, like a grade or two under.
Yeah.
Had the biggest crush on me. I saw him in Tractor Supply last week, and like you would not recognize, like based off of what he looked like then and what he looks like now. He's kind of pretty now.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know.
Hold on. Oh, hell. I done pulled my desk apart, y'all.
Look at her.
Oh,
tearing
hell.
stuff up.
There we go.
What are you doing?
Getting a yearbook.
Oh, I'm about to look it up on Facebook.
I want to know what he looked like then, though.
Well, I was going to look on his thing and see if he had some olders. Okay, yeah, here you go. Here you go. This isn't like high school aged, but very similar.
I'll get that out later.
Hold on. I might even be able to find.
I probably do not know who this man is.
Probably not, but I'm trying to find one where you might recognize.
I don't know. Just show me a picture of him. I might recognize him. He does look kind of familiar.
Okay, so that's him-ish back then.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he looks like...
The weight is gone.
Yeah.
But I was like... I did a double take, because I was like, is that...
I mean, he's dressed like my dad, so...
But yeah, he spoke, and he was like, how you doing? I was like, oh, hey! It's funny. Crazy to me that, like, we see people that... when we're out, I'll see people that I went to school with, and I'm like, I think I remember you.
Yeah.
Or I'll instantly know who they are, and they don't remember me. Yeah. Not that I'm speaking to them, but we'll make eye contact, and they're like...
see each other.
Yeah.
Hell, last night, I was at... I went through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru, right? And the guy ahead of me is like... Just the... Like, all I can hear over the squawk box is... Okay, what else can I get you? Okay, what else can I get you? Okay, what else can I get you? Like, and I'm just like, good Lord, what is this man ordering? And I'm like, how many people you got in that Jeep with you? And I'm like, just you? What are you doing? And then I lock eyes with him in the side mirror, and it's one of our customers. And he like looks at me, and I looked at him. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess you're feeding your family.
That tracks. Lord. I had a scare earlier this week. I was taking my oldest to school and I'm sitting at a red light.
Oh, hell yeah.
My light turns green for me to turn left. This lady is coming and like, obviously if my light's green to turn left, then the road in front of me should be red.
Yeah.
This car just runs the red light and turns left beside of me.
Yeah.
Like if I had not been paying attention, I would have T-boned.
Yeah.
Honestly, and
Yeah.
this is a flaw for me. If I had not had a child in my car,
Yeah.
and had I had my old car,
Yeah.
probably would have accidentally bumped her.
Yeah. Honestly,
To prove a point. But
Yeah.
then, and I'm like blowing my horn,
that
flipping
lady,
the finger,
Yeah.
and then she gets next to me, and I'm like, oh shit, that looked like my landlord. But it wasn't.
Did you find out it was?
Well, it wasn't their car.
Oh, okay. Then it probably wasn't her.
But I was like, oh shit, I hope she didn't see that.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, do we need...
See, I always make it a habit to kind of look to make sure that, like...
I do too.
Because I'm so afraid somebody's going to run a red light and kill me.
I do too.
And I'm like,
that's
I swear
why
to
I
God,
saw...
if somebody takes me out, I'm going to be so mad.
That's why I saw her before, before I took off. But like, it was redder than the devil's dick. Like, it was red. There was no question.
If you'd have hit her, she'd have lost her license, probably.
Probably. I mean, that would have been her fault.
Oh, yeah.
There was no denying that.
And if she's an old lady.
But then again, would anybody around have stood up for me and said, yeah, she was at fault? Or would it have been my word against hers? You see what I'm saying?
Get a dash cam, guys.
See, me and TJ literally just had this conversation. What had happened? Something had happened last night. Or maybe we were just talking about something. But I was like, have you ever considered getting a dash cam? Another new update.
Oh, Lord, what?
Get up yesterday morning, okay?
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, I noticed at the beginning of the week, the neighbors had put up just this weird, like, almost like temporary fence. It's like the metal T-posts, and then almost like police or construction fencing, like the plastic flimsy stuff kind of around it. And I'm like, what are they doing just in this decently big spot in their backyard?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are they doing? And then get up yesterday morning, let the dogs out of their kennels. I'm getting everything together to take them out. Ellie peeks out the door before I can get to it, and she starts losing her shit. And I'm like, what is going on? Because, like, I thought, okay, somebody's dropping their kid off next door or something. And then I look, and she's looking toward their backyard. And I'm like, well, there must be a cat or one of their dogs or something is loose. And so I look. They've got lambs. There are 2 lambs in this fence. 2 lambs. Just random lambs showed up overnight. And I'm like, are these pets? And then I thought, nope. I bet these lambs don't last very long in the backyard. Cinco de Mayo is Monday. I bet they having
Let me know.
some barbacoa.
Keep me updated.
Part of me is kind of excited because it's going to smell real nice in my neighborhood. But then again, if they don't use all of the animal, are they just throwing that shit in the woods for the coyotes to come and get?
I mean, maybe.
That's a problem also.
George, our outside cat.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I got home, okay? Not yesterday, the day before. It was Thursday. And I'm like, George, what is that? It was the bottom half of a rabbit.
Yes.
Yesterday morning, I go to leave. It was gone.
Oh.
I said, well, why are you coming up here for dinner? Like
You hunting.
ate half a rabbit. And there ain't no parts of it, like, out there. He ate it. That's what I will say about George. He will kill animals.
Bring him to my house.
But he will eat them.
I want another outside cat, but I'm afraid to because I'm afraid something's going to get a hold of it. But I say that
going out of town, I'm so nervous about George because, like, every time we go out of town, it feels like our outside cat disappears.
Right. Well,
but I think he'll be okay because I think he mostly stays here. Sometimes he'll go across the street and he'll bring mice back.
Yeah.
But for the most part, he stays in our yard.
Well, we had Shady Cat for a long time. And I really think that Shady Cat was just old when she showed up. So maybe she just kind of ran off.
Yeah.
And died,
I mean, that is like the hard part of having like strays that
you
show
don't
up.
ever know what happens.
Yeah. And like they will just disappear.
Yeah.
Because like we had for, God, how long? Years.
Oreo.
Miss Lady.
Oh, Miss Lady.
Miss Lady showing up like clockwork every night for dinner.
Yeah.
And then like it was like two nights in a row or something she didn't show up at all. And like normally if there's bad weather or whatever, she wouldn't have shown up. But like it was fine weather. And I was like, something's happened and we haven't seen her since. So I was like, something must have got her. But like Oreo, when we went to Florida that time, he like was here for a day and then we've never seen him again. Toby comes and goes. For the most part, he's here now, especially because I think his sight is getting back. He's old. He's so old. And I think he might have been hit by a car. Like his, like, at least like his back leg. Like, I don't think it was like too detrimental, but it definitely looks like his foot has been run over. Like his little back foot is just like kind of flat looking. I messaged Danny the other night because I pulled a couple of ticks off of Toby, and I said, hold on.
They're bad this year. We pulled one off of Ellie.
They were so bad.
About once a day.
Yeah. I said, I just got 4 big ticks off Toby's neck. One was swelled up to about the size of a dime. I said, I crushed it in the ashtray and it popped like a ketchup packet.
Ew.
5 out of 10 experience. Satisfying, but gross.
We burn them. And sometimes when they are kind of full, they explode. They pop.
Yeah. But yeah, this little guy, when I got home, was sauntering up from laying on the picnic table. Little did I know he was out there with his. He had a meal, and then he's acting like
I'm starving.
Oh, and then that was also the day I trapped Little Cat in the bathroom all day.
Oh no, poor baby.
She was like, I guess she got fed up. She took a shit in the bathtub, and I was like, I can't even be mad at you. It was my fault. I was like, but. To be fair, that cat do be like teleporting in there.
She was probably really upset about having to take a shit in the bathtub too.
Oh, I bet she was pissed her in hell.
I bet she was.
She was probably so mad. But I was like, I went in the bedroom to light some incense because I was like, y'all stink. I was like, one of y'all stinks. And I hear meow, meow, and I'm like, look at where you at. And then I hear at the bathroom door, meow. And I was like, you been in there all day? She come out, went straight to the food bowl.
she was wasting away.
She had her priorities right.
She was wasting away. She didn't get a snack during the day. Bless her. Elliot started drinking out of the toilet. That's a fun experience, especially since I keep the blue stuff in the tank, you know?
Oh, hell.
So we've been having to make a conscious effort of, because like, I don't close the toilet seat. I don't.
See, I do.
I don't.
It's a habit.
But now it's going to have to be a habit because
I think the only place that I don't is at work because it's like a public bathroom.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like be touching on it. You know?
Yeah. I do it here.
Yeah.
Because y'all do.
Yeah.
But like, I don't do it at home. The boys do. Well, TJ does. She's playing with a rainbow. Yeah. Anyway, we should probably
we should probably get into it
at home at home.
Yeah, we're 35 minutes in. So, spooky Michigan. I guess what we'll do is I'll just read a story and you can pick what is some stuff, and then because I think most of these are pretty long, and some of them, and just a trigger warning note. There will be, in as far as my stories, topics that deal with suicide, sexual assault, that kind of stuff. I did pick some like more fun ones that don't really have a lot of, because I like to pick things and then go, surprise, it's not even true. So I did, there's at least one of those, but I will start with, I almost didn't do this one, and then I like read a short blurb about this and then was like, no, I gotta include this one. So, Dice Road Cemetery in Saginaw County, Michigan. Anna Fazio and her family originated from Italy, where her father set fire to their home when she was just 5 years old in an attempt to kill the whole family. And Anna was the sole survivor. She moved to America with her maternal aunt, who changed her last name to Rhodes, and settled in the Saginaw area, and she became friends with a native boy named Darkhawk. As Anna grew and matured, she became infatuated with a local man named Jonathan Millerton. But Darkhawk did not like this at all, as he believed that he and Anna were supposed to be married. Darkhawk began to lash out at Anna as she began to spend more and more of her time with Jonathan. The natives had expected Anna to remain loyal in honoring Darkhawk by giving him her hand in marriage when she was of age, but she was unaware of this expectation that had been set for her. Anna was confused by his sudden hostility toward her, and both her and her Aunt Stella felt this separation as it had become evident that they were no longer friends of the tribe. Jonathan worked in the lumber business, and at this time, this type of business was expanding trade and bringing more and more white people to the area and pushing the natives even further out. And some of the more cruel white people attempted to push out even more natives and would brutally rape and beat the women. Anna attempted to reconcile the two groups, and she walked through the woods to the tribe where she discovered the carnage left by the lumbermen. She went to the clearing where the native village had been and found it to be desolate. She heard the cries of a child and followed them to find herself at Darkhawk's tent. There, she found his little brother, Little Bear, crying out for his mother. And Darkhawk's mother lay face down, and Anna lifted her head to wipe away blood gushing from her mouth. She was shocked to see the once beautiful singing sparrow's face badly beaten and looked away, but listened as she spoke in a hoarse tone. She mumbled about how there were evil spirits near. The white men had raped and beaten the women of the tribe. The warriors of the tribe had left to hunt, and these white men had taken advantage of this. Singing Sparrow warned Anna to leave before Darkhawk discovered her. She held her tightly and looked into her eyes. Singing Sparrow attempted to speak again, but her words were caught in her final breath, and she died in Anna's arms. The native women gathered around, and as she peered through the sea of frightened faces, she rested her gaze on Little Bear. He stood there looking at her with a pleading look. She turned away and stumbled through the forest back home, memories of the fire and her mother's screams filling her head. She remembered the silence after and the pleading eyes of her mother when her body was consumed in flame on that day in Italy. And then her Aunt Stella passed in August of 1828. When she was 17, she and Jonathan Millerton married, and he was soon shipped to the Great Lakes to sell for the lumber trade. Darkhawk saw this as an opportunity to take revenge, and he brutally and repeatedly sexually assaulted Anna while Millerton was away, and he continued to do this over the last year of Anna's life. Anna told no one of these attacks, but she did document them in a journal. And this journal held the secrets of her slow descent into madness. This, on top of the trauma she experienced when her family died and the brutality exacted on her native friends and the devastating loss of her aunt, was just too much for Anna to bear. And on August 12th, 1830, she wrote, "News came today. The talk of the ship that sank into the heart of the sea. My love, he's buried beneath the dark waters. I shall no longer abide in the sanctuary of my lover's earthen heart, for my love has gone. I shall no longer think of the sorrow of his family. I cry for him not, for I have felt his embrace last night. My lover waits behind the door of death in fields of gold. He waits, calling for me to join him there. I prepare for death, fearing not the grave. My love has passed beyond the sand and sea, the moon and stars. I should leave not my home, but I enter into it. My lover leads me there. I shall go to the forest. I shall go to the shed. I leave not in sorrow. I cry not for my lost love. My lover calls to me as darkness sets in the sky. This is the last time I shall see the moon, the last of the stars. I shall make my way to the eternal land. Tonight my lover waits for me. Anna." Her body was discovered 2 days later. She had hung herself from the rafter of the small shed near the back of the Dice Road Cemetery. The small outhouse building still remains there, and legend has it that it has not been torn down because her spirit protects it. On October 30th, 1830, Jonathan returned.
Oh, no.
When his ship did not reach port on time, word was sent to the last post that they would have stopped for supplies at, but word returned that the ship never reached the port and that there had been a shipwreck abroad, which led everyone to believe that that ship had sunk. The delayed return of the crew was a surprise, and Jonathan, however, was not greeted with any kind of good news, as his wife's Aunt Stella had died. Anna had went mad, and when she perceived him to be dead, she hung herself. His grief was tremendous, thinking of what she had endured while he was away. He only left because he thought she would be safe with her aunt. He never remarried, and he lived alone in Forest Hill until he died in 1879. And interestingly, Jonathan was shunned by the townsfolk because he claimed that his dead wife would visit him in the forest near the shed.
Oh.
During this time, there was a religious movement, shocker, that believed that communing with the dead was the work of the devil himself. But Jonathan felt that Anna was just waiting for him to join her, which he did when he died of natural causes at the age of 74. Anna took the secret of the sexual assaults by Dark Hawk to her grave and had sealed her diary in the wall of the shed until it was discovered by a member of the Michigan Historical Research Foundation for Paranormal Activity in the late 1800s, in the later part of the 1800s. She was ashamed of being raped repeatedly and did not want anyone to know that she had been unfaithful to her husband. It is said that Anna's lost soul still wanders the hills of the forest around Dice Road Cemetery, where she patiently awaits for her lover to return, seemingly unaware that she has been dead for nearly 200 years.
Nice.
That was a sad story. Yeah. Like, you're friends with a guy, right? And then he assumes that that means you're going to get married.
Right.
And then when you don't, he's like pissed.
Yeah.
And then the minute your husband ain't looking, he's on you like stink on shit.
All right. So I'm going to jump in with, as per usual, some weird laws.
Some palate cleansers.
Yeah. If you find yourself in Detroit with a broken radio and a bad mood, don't let the intrusive thoughts win. It's illegal to willfully destroy an old radio in Detroit. Perhaps back when radios were expensive and cherished household items, the destruction of one was seen as an offense, not just against property, but against culture itself. So if your team loses, again, and your impulse is to hurl that old receiver against the wall, you better do it somewhere other than Detroit. Adding to Detroit's curious codes of behavior, men are not allowed to scowl at their wives on Sundays. Imagine the restraint required after a long week or during a particularly intense Lions game. Sunday is meant for smiles or, at the very least, neutral expressions. And if your day gets stranger and you find yourself walking your pet alligator downtown, don't tie it to a fire hydrant. In a city struggling with infrastructure issues, it seems that keeping the hydrants free from dangerous reptiles was serious enough concern to warrant legislation.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's literally crazy.
Pig owners are not exempt from Detroit's strict animal management rules either. It is illegal to allow a pig to run free unless it has a ring in its nose. The ring acts as both a mark of ownership and a method to control the animal, which you, as a person that's had a septum piercing, you can imagine that does really freaking hurt when it's grabbed. After all, an unmarked loose pig is no easy task to wrangle, and pigs can surprisingly outrun many humans. And one more Detroit gem. Couples are banned from making love in automobiles unless the act takes place while the car is parked and on their own property.
I think fair.
Yeah. No lovers' lanes or secluded hilltop makeout sessions.
I'm pretty sure that's
Keep that private.
I'm pretty sure it's illegal everywhere.
Probably.
But yeah, I get that one.
So, you can go on to your next one.
All right. Born in 1862, Dorr, D-O-R-R, not like bedroom door, Felt was a self-made millionaire famous for inventing the comptometer, which was basically a fancy calculator for businesses to improve their bookkeeping and speed. The success of this machine led him to design even more throughout his lifetime. And in the early 1900s, Felt was attracted to the beauty of the western Michigan coastline and decided to establish an estate where he, his wife Agnes, their 4 daughters, and their families could spend the summers. Felt developed the dune land into a 1,000-acre farm with a beach house, carriage house, farmhouse, and a petting zoo.
Nice.
In 1925, construction began on Felt Mansion, affectionately referred to as Agnes's house. The mansion took 3 years to build, and Felt paid attention to every small detail, which created a home that continues to impress people today. In August of 1928, though, just 6 weeks after the family, she saw your camera and she was like, "No pictures, no paparazzi."
The way she was laying, I couldn't tell if she felt trapped or if she was
I think she felt trapped. She was just appeasing me. But in August 1928, though, after only 6 weeks of the family living in the home, Agnes passed away, and Dorr joined her just a year and a half later. The Felt family held on to the mansion until 1949, and after World War II, they decided to sell the Shore Acres farm. The St. Augustine Cemetery, a Catholic prep school for boys, purchased... Seminary. Okay. Did I say cemetery?
Yeah.
Seminary, a Catholic prep school for boys, purchased the mansion and the grounds. The carriage house was used for classrooms, and the mansion was used for housing. And over several years, the seminary had grown, and they built a school on the ridge west of the mansion, and the nuns lived in the mansion. In the late 1970s, the state of Michigan purchased the property to use as a prison. And part of the mansion was used as offices for the state police during this time. The state owned the property until it was sold for $1 in the 1990s to Laketown Township, with the stipulation that the mansion not be sold or used for private enterprise and be accessible to the public. Laketown tore down the prison and mothballed the Felt Mansion and turned the land west of the mansion into Shore Acres Township Park. Over time, the mansion continued to deteriorate, and in June of 2001, Patty Meyer and her husband Dean discovered the mansion. She approached Lake Town Township wanting to head up a community project to restore the mansion. She and a group of volunteers began the restoration in 2002, and by 2007, even the pond had been restored. And today, the Felt Mansion is used for both private and public events, and there are tours, which are especially popular during the holiday season. Private events fund the continuing efforts to restore and maintain the mansion and grounds, so they're not privately just earning money off of these events. There are several hauntings that are said to occur, and the most popular spirits that are that of former owners Dor and Agnes Felt. They have been spotted wandering in and out of the rooms of the mansion, and it is thought that they stay here because they had such a short time to enjoy their home. The couple are said to be kindred spirits who are not afraid of visitors and that they enjoy their former home. There have been dark figures or shadow people reported in the ballroom on the 3rd floor of the mansion, and some say that the shadows appear to sway and dance around the room, while other shadows seem to be cleaning or sweeping. The double French doors that led to Agnes's room are said to open and close of their own volition. I don't know that I would like that too much.
Right. All right. Well, in Kalamazoo, even serenading has its limitations. It's illegal to serenade your girlfriend here.
Good.
The image of a lovesick Romeo strumming his guitar under Juliet's balcony might be romantic elsewhere, but in Kalamazoo, it could earn you a fine or worse. So best save the Celine Dion renditions for inside the house. Meanwhile, in Harper Woods, painting sparrows and selling them as parakeets is against the law. This law points to a time when exotic birds were prized possessions and unscrupulous vendors tried to capitalize on the trend with some creative and unethical paint jobs.
Yeah.
On the topic of love, though, it is important to note that in Michigan, a man cannot seduce and corrupt an unmarried woman without facing serious consequences. So,
oh yeah, brother.
Listen, you dating somebody and he's trying to get it.
Yeah.
He can't do that.
You keep saying no.
He can't do that. Even if you're down for it, he can't do that. If you're convicted, you face up to 5 years in prison or a $2,500 fine, which is a strong deterrent meant to protect young women's reputations in more conservative eras. And no, it doesn't get less strange. In Detroit, singing while driving a motor vehicle is illegal. Although probably intended to cut down on distractions, it's hard to imagine a road trip without a little karaoke session in the car. Listen, you let me do my thing. And if I get pulled over and a ticket because I'm in there singing, as long as my eyes are on that road, you don't worry about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That, I was like, really? All right, go ahead with your next one.
All right, so for my next one, this story was recommended on one of my sources that I picked like my list from, but there weren't all that many sources on this little bit of folklore. There was a Tumblr post, a few other blog posts, but nothing like I usually find for these stories, but I persisted. So heading toward Ann Arbor on Huron River Drive is a small rundown private cemetery. The cemetery is hidden into the woods and is difficult to see. Willie's grave is located under the giant oak tree. Technically speaking, the oak tree has grown on the grave and you can barely even see the headstone anymore. And apparently someone dug a hole in an attempt to find Willie.
Okay.
It is said that if you lay down on Willie's grave, a shadow person or a demon will sink through you and into the ground. The author of this blog said, "My brother has been there before, and we decided to take a little trip there on a Sunday autumn on a sunny autumn Sunday. Jason said that there are only a few gravestones, but there is a particular tree that is said to have grown and surrounds the grave of a warlock. The tree has thorns growing on it, although it isn't really a thorn tree. The Tumblr post I found, which was from like 2015, I think, says that there is not much known about this warlock except that he is said to possess a great amount of power. He was said to have possessed a lot of power at the time of his death. It is said that there were thorn trees planted on either side of his headstone, and it was noted that there is debate as to whether the thorn trees served as a means of protection from the warlock after his passing, or if they were placed there as a punishment for his practices, which basically meant he wasn't a member of the church. No matter the purpose, the trees have grown and intertwined, consuming the headstone between them. This post says that if you lay on at the base of these trees, the warlock spirit will awaken and pass through your body. And some say that if you master his craft and perform the correct ritual, that you can take his power for yourself. Skeptics, however, wonder if there is anyone buried there at all. But this post was from 2015, and it is noted at the bottom that the last reported visitor found an 8 by 4 foot hole at the base of the tree that was about 5.5 feet deep. Probably not true, but a fun little legend nonetheless. I like a little fun little,
Yeah. Okay. Oh, hold on, I lost my spot. In 2002, repeal changed things, but before then, it was illegal to swear in front of women or children in Michigan. Considering the fiery emotions often involved in Lions games or snowy winter traffic jams, it's likely enforcement became a lost cause, leading to its eventual demise. Smoking laws also took an unusual turn in Sioux, Michigan, where smoking while in bed is illegal. Which, back in my smoking days, when I lived in a house where I could smoke in the house, laying in bed and smoking was the next best thing to being able to smoke a cigarette while I was taking a shit.
Yeah.
And only smokers will truly understand the gloriousness that was that.
Yeah.
Hold on. Perhaps this was inspired by the real and dangerous threat of fires. Lawmakers decided to legislate personal habits in the most private of spaces. Another Sunday-specific rule applies to commerce. It's illegal to sell cars on Sundays, which I've seen that's a pretty widespread thing.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a county with a population under 130,000 people. This law is dating back to 1953, and it isn't unique to Michigan, because several other states, including Indiana and Minnesota, have similar restrictions. So if you're in the mood for a spontaneous car purchase after church, you'll likely be met by locked dealership doors. Let's see. When walking down the charming streets of South Haven, be mindful of your Victorian-era attire. It's against the law to throw an abandoned hoop skirt onto a street or sidewalk, with violators fined a whopping $5 whole.
I bet they're raking in on that.
You think so?
Just raking it in.
I bet so. This law is almost certainly hails from the days when hoop skirts were cumbersome and easily discarded. Meanwhile...
Who was leaving their hoop skirts in the road?
Meanwhile, Wayland offers an exciting deal for bovine enthusiasts. You can keep your cow downtown on Main Street for 3 cents a day, which is an affordable vacation for Bessie, indeed.
Yeah.
Homeowners in Michigan should also note if a robber injures themselves on your property, they can sue you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's most places.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. If somebody gets, or even, it's even like what is it called? The Castle Act or something. Like, if somebody breaks into your house, if they don't have a weapon with them, you cannot use a weapon.
Right.
Like, and if you do, you will go to jail.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people don't realize that. They're like, oh, somebody's coming into my house, must defend myself, which I get. Like, that's your instinct. But, like, you cannot use deadly force unless deadly force is used against you.
Right.
So, remember that when you're feeling a little trigger happy.
Right. Well, so this, I think, kind of what I put in my notes here is this kind of reflects broader legal doctrines about property maintenance and attractive nuisances. Like, keep this also in mind if you're someone like me that has children and your house is lived in and toys are left on the floor.
Yeah.
For, days at a time sometimes.
Yeah.
If somebody breaks into your house and they step on that Lego or that Hot Wheels car.
Yeah.
And they hurt themselves. Yeah. You're at fault.
Yeah. That's so shitty to think about.
When you get up in the morning and you're like, all right, children, we need to clean the house. And they're like, why? And you're like, so if somebody breaks into our house, they don't hurt themselves. My kids be
That's so backwards.
My kids be like, who's coming over? Why do we have to clean?
Was that it for that? Okay. So once a bustling lumber town in Crawford County, Parashani was settled. It's not spelled like that. So, but
I bet
that's how you say that.
Cheney.
No,
is it? Did you Google it? Okay.
Yeah, like it's Parashani. Was settled in the 1870s.
It's a city. I thought.
Yes, it's a town.
Okay.
It was settled in the 1870s when the lumbermen following the railroads would set up camp. Soon the town established a school, a grocery store, post office, and more. After about 30 years, though, the timber industry had moved from the area and there wasn't much else to support a prosperous town. So in the early 1900s, there were only a handful of people left living in Parashani, and it was officially declared a ghost town by 1918. The only remnants of this place are some old holes in the ground where the buildings once stood and the small cemetery. Like most things, vandals have almost totally ruined everything that was left of the town and the cemetery. A story in the book, Ghost Towns of Michigan, stated that as a teenager, a Crawford County sheriff, he did this before he was a sheriff, like he did this when he was a teenager, basically grave robbed and drove around town with a human skull in his back window for years, and then ultimately became sheriff. The current cemetery has a few remaining tombstones scattered, but they are in many pieces. There are many that are in pieces after the many years of vandalism. At one point in time, there were 90 people buried there, but one was moved to Chicago in 1945. A popular legend says that there was a witch who lived in town, and she was hung from a big oak tree in the cemetery and then was buried under the tree. Some say that she wasn't really a witch in the way that we would think, but instead was a woman who had a child out of wedlock, which at that time was akin to being a witch. She didn't like how she was being treated and was said to have cursed the town. Others say that the town was cursed from the start because it was built upon a sacred native land. And during the short time that Parashani was operating, scarlet fever, smallpox, and diphtheria took the lives of many residents. This sad historical fact that has fueled the stories and the legend of the curse has grown around Parashani. An old forum had a comment from a confident soul who said, "There are no witches buried at Parashani. The townspeople would not have buried her in the town graveyard," which is actually probably true. Because if they thought that this woman was a witch, they would not have buried her in their Christian or, whatever, like Puritan cemetery. Which I said, honestly, it tracks, historically speaking. Parashani has been a paranormal hotspot in Michigan throughout the years, and there are a plethora of stories online about cold spots, apparitions, disembodied voices, and even some reports of ghost trains.
Oh, I love a good ghost train.
Yeah. A former Grayling resident said, "Is Parashani Cemetery really haunted? I believe that it is, but not to the extent others make it out to be. I have probably been there at least 200 times over the years, and maybe 10 of those times I've had something strange happen to me, and others that were with me. I've had my car radio switch channels for no reason. My new car wouldn't start once. A few times we heard children giggling very close to the car late at night. That would freak me out.
Right.
One particular time, there were small handprints all over the roof of my car after we left the cemetery. And on Halloween in 2002, myself and 3 others saw an apparition of a woman in a light-colored dress walk through the rear of the cemetery and then suddenly disappeared. I've never been chased. I've never seen a witch. I've never felt like someone was trying to lynch me. Also, I guess they note that also one of the many Parashani stories told that involves the large oak tree in the center of the cemetery. The temperature has fluctuated from time to time, but it wasn't anything worth writing home about. I do not feel an overwhelming sadness there, but I do feel a particular energy I cannot fully explain. However, I feel this when I walk into any cemetery, which I feel that.
Right.
Like I don't know, a cemetery just holds something. Like,
yeah.
There's a feeling there.
Yeah. And I will say, like,
even if it's like a historical one or not,
Yeah. And then too, as far as like temperature goes, which I know a lot of it can be attributed to, like, if it's summertime and you've got all those headstones that are holding heat.
Yeah.
But the
or
temperature,
like, is there a creek nearby?
Right.
And like, the cool air off of the running water or whatever.
Right. The temperature always fluctuates inside of a cemetery in comparison to what outside of the cemetery is. And and it's weird because it does seem like it's a line right at the outskirts of that cemetery.
And also too, a lot of cemeteries, I mean, depending on where they're at, but like something like this, there's going to be trees too. So that the Crawford County Avalanche newspaper reported in 2001 a pair of Roscommon County teens were charged with disinterment/mutilation of a gravesite, claiming they were trying to find jewelry. They ultimately admitted that they were told there was a witch buried in the cemetery and they were trying to dig her up.
Man.
The 2 would-be teen graveyard robbers only got about 4 feet down and never got to the actual body before they were caught by turkey hunters in the area. And they were ultimately given 90 days in jail and community service.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Beaver Creek Township, who provides the maintenance for the cemetery, as of 2015, planned to restore the cemetery and were seeking funds needed for the preservation costs. But I was not able to find any updates as to those efforts. I think there's a sign now, but at the bottom of this Tumblr post, or not Tumblr post, but this blog post that I was using, said Parashani is in a very remote and wooded location. It's down a dirt 2-track that is not made for small vehicles, and people have reported getting stuck. Please be smart if you should make a trip out there. Years ago, there was an actual gunman shooting at people who were venturing into the land at night. And my favorite part of the warning said, don't be an idiot and get yourself shot by some weird ass hill person. Go during the day. Visiting hours are from 9 a.m. to sundown. Weird ass hill person.
I love it. Do you just have one more story?
Yes, but this one is quite long.
That's what I was looking at. I was trying to gauge how much more, because I've got
this last one is also like a cobbled together from blogs.
Yeah.
Like, and I couldn't find, because like normally there's like Atlas Obscura or
right.
Even like I'll take a Ranker post.
Oh, I love a good Ranker post.
But like I could only really find like either news articles that were just regurgitating these blogs.
Right.
Or these blogs.
All right. So I've got a couple more, and then I've got some stupid criminal shit. So if you're thinking of trimming your bangs at home in Michigan, I had to look at what state we're in. Be cautious, because a woman isn't allowed to cut her own hair without her husband's permission under an archaic law still haunting the books. Although obviously it's unenforceable today, it gives a humorous glimpse into a time when autonomy for women was much more restricted.
Yeah.
Speaking of haircuts, no cosmetology services are allowed without a proper license. Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Michigan law rightfully so, because how many times have you taken scissors or hair dye to my hair
or even my own hair? Ugh. I had no business being a kitchen hairdresser.
Lord. Michigan law specifies that only licensed professionals may perform services such as haircuts, nail care, or hair removal, unless done for immediate family members. There was that one time. That one time that you dyed, the last time that I let you dye my hair. Why we thought this was a good idea, I don't know. But I came out like Little Mermaid Ariel red and wasn't supposed to be. And there were so many patches. Missed patches.
Why did anybody ever let me do anything to their hair?
I was just trying to look good to go back to work after having Easton. And I ended up within days having to go get it professionally done to cover it up. And the girl that did it was like, oh my God. No, you know what? I think my mom redid it.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure. I thought you went to your mom.
I think my mom did it. I don't think I went to Heather. But anyway.
No. Me, kitchen / dining room.
Now I can color some hair.
You bathroom piercer.
Yeah, I did pierce your ears.
I was sitting there and thinking, I was like, I still got that gun.
I can color some hair. It's not going to look professionally done, but you're not going to have holes.
I think now I would probably be more apt to like take my time. Like I probably still wouldn't. I'd probably be like, go get somebody else to do this. I don't want to do this.
I don't mind coloring hair, but I don't mind it.
I would probably like take my time a little bit more and like make sure that I've gotten like, kind of try to do it right.
Yeah.
Rather than just let me glob this shit on here.
We had so much left over too. And that's what should have been worrisome. But
you know what?
Listen, I have colored my kids' hair several times. I don't color my own hair because I can't see it. But like I can do it.
I want to say that like one of your children mentioned something about a haircut around me, not like too long ago, but like maybe at like Halloween or something. And I was like, go ask your mama why you do not want me cutting your hair.
I've cut their hair as well, like COVID haircuts. I buzzed Easton's head. I don't know how you can mess up a buzz, but I messed it up. And then like the girls, I just did like a straight across kind of, let's just get the dead ends off kind of thing, just to make it a little bit healthier. And it wasn't bad. I didn't screw theirs up as bad, but you could tell that I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But like I'll color it. And the only reason it's not going to look super professional is because I'm using not professional things.
Yeah.
I don't truly know what I'm doing, but you're going to be covered. But yeah. Anyway, Where was I at? If you're hoping to get a bathing suit approved by a higher authority, Rochester once required all swimsuits to be inspected by the head of police. That was the luckiest man in that city.
That
Maybe,
feels very
possibly.
creepy.
This relic of the late 1800s harks back to when modesty was a paramount and law enforcement doubled as fashion police.
Yeah.
Michigan's relationship with animals, moving on, Michigan's relationship with animals is complicated and often hilarious. The state possesses a variety of wild animals such as badgers, bobcats, foxes, raccoons, and more.
Mm-hmm.
With owning these without a permit is illegal.
Yeah.
If your pigs, or if you are sleeping with your pigs, cows, horses, goats, and chickens in Clawson, it's illegal.
Like, do we mean like...
It just said sleeping. I'm pretty sure just like taking a nap. While it's comforting to think that early farmers had warm hearts, and lawmakers clearly believe that human-animal cohabitation should have its limits. Like, I could see somebody being like, I'm going to bring my Highland cow in the house and we're going to cuddle up and sleep together.
And it's probably not the healthiest of things to do.
Probably not. I'd do it, though. If you're living in Clawson, though, and you find yourself itching for some old-fashioned honor dueling,
like a duel?
Yeah. Remember.
10 paces?
Yeah. You have to notify the mayor 3 days in advance before you engage in this duel. Pistols at dawn, only with proper paperwork.
Oh, hell.
So here's just a couple miscellaneous things that I found in Milan, or Milan, however you want to pronounce it. Pedestrians are required to smile at all times. In Grand Haven,
some man who got frowned at.
Right.
That.
Oh, I already said that one. I don't know why I included that twice. In Niles, you must exit your car on the sidewalk side.
Willow was in here.
Yeah, she's over there snoozing. But in Niles, you have to exit your car on the sidewalk side. So crawl over. Not for us bigger people.
Stupid.
In Detroit, putt-putt golf courses must close by 1 a.m. Apparently, mini golf got a little bit too rowdy the later it got. Even the choice of car color once had restrictions. During certain hours in Detroit, vehicles could only be painted black. Although this was likely rooted in practical manufacturing concerns, it nonetheless does sound ridiculous today.
Yeah, that does sound kind of crazy.
And in a nod to pet management, keeping an alligator in your bathtub is illegal.
I think keeping an alligator should be illegal.
Right. Oh, and if you happen to buzz through Harper Woods and you're a bee, just know bees are not legally allowed to buzz there. Good luck.
This is why the bees are dying.
Good luck with that. But
what are they going to do? Like, tie a string around it and arrest it?
Right. But not all Michigan laws are lighthearted. Adultery is technically illegal, but only if the injured spouse files a formal complaint. Using a decompression chamber to kill a dog is also illegal.
Good.
This, showcases serious and necessary effort to protect animal welfare. Is that even a thing anymore?
The fact that exists.
Right. Is that even a thing anymore?
How many times that was a problem?
And
what do you mean, like kill shelters?
No, like decompression chambers.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay. I mean, I've always just lethal injection type. That's all I've ever heard. Like, that's how they put them all down.
Yeah.
And perhaps this is the most peculiar one. anyone 12 years or older can obtain a concealed handgun license.
12?
Yeah, provided that they have no felony convictions.
12?
Clearly, historical priorities regarding maturity and gun ownership differed greatly from modern standards. I cannot imagine.
Well, I mean, like,
my
40 was elderly, so...
Well, yeah, and, like, back then at 12, like, these kids were serving in the military sometimes, but, like...
We have come so far,
I cannot imagine my
enough.
16-year-old...
No, I would not trust her with a firearm.
With a firearm.
No.
I couldn't imagine my middle, who... Honestly, sorry if Maddie listens to this, is the more responsible of the three of my children. I cannot see in 2 years' time.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't. No. Can you imagine my youngest?
Oh,
at
hell.
12? Because you know it's only going to be...
If he got like a little Red Ryder BB gun, everybody would be terrified. I'd be scared. I'd be like, you're going to shoot your eye out, kid.
No, and like, honestly, we own, okay, my husband owns firearms, but we're not a huge, like, hell yeah, guns type
like,
thing.
y'all aren't going out in the yard and, like, shooting tin can stuff.
We have.
Yeah.
But, like...
I think
in a means to show the kids that these are to be respected but not feared.
Exactly. I think firearm safety is very important for everybody, children, and there's like, it's like with any topic, there's age appropriate ways to teach this.
And I do think that it's
because, like, I think that, like, because of the way that I was raised, being taught that, like, if treat it like it's loaded no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I have a gun. I don't care. I saw a post yesterday. So there's some type of organization somewhere in Nashville that's like, if you have a firearm that, like, you know, if it doesn't work or you just don't want it anymore and you want like a safe way to dispose of it, they'll take it and then they'll melt the metal down and create like tools and other stuff.
That's cool.
The comments, it's like people acting like somebody's got a gun to their head being like, take your guns here. And I'm like, y'all need to shut up. It's not about you. It's like, this is optional. Nobody's forcing you to do this.
Right.
But people in the comments were losing their shit. And it's like, well, I can think of other things I'd rather. Okay, then do that. Who cares? It's not about you. But I literally commented on it. I was like, y'all need to shut up. So, like, if you're friends with me on Facebook and you see that it says that I've commented on something, just know that it's because I read the comments.
It's worth
and was like
to see what she said.
Every once in a while, it's like, I'm just like, what are y'all talking about?
See, I was raised in a house, like, we had guns.
Yeah, like,
but I was never, like, until I was, TJ and I were together.
Yeah.
So I'm big time adult at this point. Had never fired a gun.
Oh, I've been shooting guns since I was a little fart.
I'm terrified of them. Now, if I were put in a position to where I had to use one, I feel like I could.
Yeah.
I've only shot a handgun like once or twice, and then like a shotgun type thing once. I'm not good.
Yeah.
But I feel like
I can't hit the broadside of a barn, but it is fun to shoot a gun.
Well, I feel like being put in a position to where I have to use it, instinct would take over, adrenaline would kick in, and I'm probably
you might at least hit something.
I'd probably take you out.
Yeah,
it might. I think that in a position where I have to do it,
like if
I'm defending myself, my family,
right,
I'd probably take you out.
But you'd rather not have to do that.
Bingo.
Right. Yeah.
But
it's important to know, like,
they make me extremely nervous.
Yeah.
Extremely
and I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Because my brain constantly is like, what if that, even though that's been sitting in this spot and untouched for months, what if it just randomly goes off? Knowing good and well there's not one in the chamber.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to leave one with one in the chamber. But, like, what if it just randomly goes off? And it shoots through a wall.
Right.
And hits a kid.
Because, like, all I could ever think about is when we were, God, I think we were in middle school.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the two that one accidentally shot the other one in the butt.
Well, this was an incident of that, but he accidentally, like, unalived his friend. And they were, like, in middle school.
I don't know about that.
Hold on. The brother that did it. Hold on. I'm typing to her, like, more details. You should remember her. But yeah, so friend, they're like playing with a gun, not supervised. And like he like unalives his friend.
I don't remember that. So the one that's closer to me?
It's the one over here.
That circles around?
Yes.
Ooh.
So he's buried up there. And that has always stuck with me, that like it's not a toy. And
yeah.
So yeah.
Wow.
I think that's just gun. It's just having safety discussions are important. If you have weapons in your home, your children need to be aware that they are there and to not mess with them. And that they're not toys.
And a completely unrelated thing, but I thought about it whenever you were talking about that post. There has been an abundance of people feeling like they have to put their 2 cents in on a post that literally has nothing to do with them. Or if it doesn't pertain or doesn't serve you in any way, why do you feel the need to comment? Specific like that one. People are like, well, I could find much better things to do.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
then
it's
move
like,
on.
Right. It's like, okay, then this article and this organization does not pertain to you. It has nothing to do with you.
Well, like, so my sister is in a group of women that go and walk every day during the week. And so they've been doing this for at least a year.
I was gonna say, it's been a while.
They posted about it recently in a community page trying to say, hey, if you guys would like to come and join, we're here. This is where and what time.
Right.
We've been doing this where and what time for this whole time.
Yeah.
Somebody comments on it and was like, well, that's really it's an inconvenient time.
Okay, so don't come.
Okay, sorry. Hate it for your luck.
Yeah.
Start your own group.
Yeah, pick a time that's good for you and form your own group of friends.
Right.
Why
did you feel the need? Like, yes, this established group is going to change for you specifically.
I think that's one of the major problems with social media is we were never meant to be able to so freely express ourselves. Some people are too comfortable.
Man,
too comfortable. And some people think that they are the main character, and they're not. That is so...
That's
tragic.
Anyway. Right. Go on with your last one, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stupid criminal stories.
Okay. The Horrible Hag of Detroit. This was also another, like I said, like blog to blog legend that I found. And I did note that not that there aren't cool spots in Michigan that house spirits, or anything like that, but I just like these little internet folk tales. I just feel like they're a bit more rich, and I said kind of like a death by chocolate cake. So a 2009 blog post on Motor City Blog shared the details of the Addams family as they moved, which I was wearing my Addams family t-shirt yesterday when I was writing this. But they moved into a gray frame house at 5508 Martin Street in Detroit. The children and the dog sensed something awful in the back bedroom, but there wasn't anything different about the appearance of that room that would make Bill and his wife Lillian suspect that this small bedroom would hold on to something of unspeakable terror. Because the room was so small and had just enough space for a bed, Bill would sleep in this room when he came home from his midnight shift at the Cadillac plant. He said there was an article this occurred in the 1960s, and there was an article, I guess, that was published. But it was another, I couldn't find, the direct source. It was, I don't know. It was just kind of weird. But he was quoted as saying, even after years of working the midnight shift, I still have trouble sometimes sleeping in the daytime. It didn't take long for Bill to notice a strange and uncomfortable effect in that bedroom, or that bedroom was having on him. He told a reporter later that he would have the most horrible nightmares, and they would leave him limp with fear due to how real they seemed. He would often find himself sitting in the bed screaming until his throat was sore. One of the dreams was when, this was a quote, one of the dreams was when I found myself opening a door and a mutilated body fell out. These nightmares began to take a toll on Bill, and he told his wife, if this doesn't stop, I don't know what I'll do. I'm about ready to see a psychiatrist. Once he resumed sleeping in the primary bedroom, he began to associate the nightmares with the back bedroom. He would say that he didn't have a single bad dream when he was sleeping in the bedroom he shared with his wife. He said the nightmares would only come when he slept in that terrible room. August of 1962 brought a visit from Bill's grandmother from Georgia. Both he and Lillian assumed that the reaction he had to the room was some sort of personal thing he had going on, so they gave his grandma that bedroom, not thinking anything about it, until the next morning when she came to the breakfast table. She was pale and seemed shaken, saying that there were terrible sounds in that room. She said, all night long, I thought someone was trying to break in. I refused to sleep in that room again. She became so uneasy that she hauled ass back to Georgia. She cut her trip short and was like, deuces. Bill and Lillian began to realize that there might be something terribly wrong with this room. They began to recall incidents, small incidents that had seemed kind of innocuous at the time. They remembered that their small terrier refused to enter that room, and all five children, this is important, would avoid that room. On October 27th, their old friend Shirley Patterson arrived from Georgia to visit for a few days before he drove his new car back to Decatur. The Addamses knew that Patterson was a practical and matter-of-fact Southerner, and the couple decided that he would be their final test. He would say if he could stay in this room overnight and not report anything strange or feeling anything weird, then maybe their imaginations were just running wild. Grandma Ben knew. If anyone was going to detonate the fantasies that they had built up about the room, it would be Patterson. Patterson later recalled that he didn't know anything about the room, and there was no reason for him to suspect that anything might be out of the ordinary going on in there. He said, it seems that I was in the bed for just a few minutes. I don't know whether I was asleep or not. I was facing the wall, and I felt something turn me over. Don't ask me to describe the feeling. All I know is that it rolled me over, and then I saw it standing outside the bedroom door. Initially, he thought it was Lillian, but then he began to tremble. It was a woman with long hair, and she had her back to me, looking into the kitchen. She was wearing a short fur coat and a kind of blue dress. He screamed as loud as he could and ran toward the figure. The second he approached it, every light in the house went out. He stumbled around in the darkness until just a moment later when the lights came back on. Bill had just left for his... One of them knocked box off the couch. Okay. Or whatever. Anyway, Bill had just left for his midnight shift, but Patterson met Lillian in the kitchen. In the bedroom, I saw, he stammered to her. Suddenly, his explanation of what was going on was cut short by a terrible wailing. It was described as sounding like a mournful, half-human, half-animal sound that left both him and Lillian speechless and scared. Lillian said that it was like nothing she had ever heard before, going on to say, and then there was an awful smell. That made both of us sick. It was coming from the room where we had heard the moaning. As if this wasn't bad enough, a heavy trap door in the floor of the utility room, they claimed that it raised up several inches and then dropped back into place.
Burn it down.
This door led to a flimsy staircase that went into a partially dug out basement, which honestly really just sounds like a crawl space.
Right.
They were able to shake the terror long enough to call the police, who were able to find nothing to give them any rational explanation as to what had occurred in the house that night. When Bill arrived home from the plant on the morning of Sunday, October 28th, both his wife and his friend were up waiting for him. They explained the entire situation as calmly as they could. Bill said, "I'm not the kind of guy who believes in ghosts. At least I didn't then. I'm a grown man with a family. I've been in the Army. I just couldn't convince myself that there was anything to it. I had to try again and see what would happen." So that night around 7:30 p.m., Bill laid down in the bed in the back bedroom. He decided that night he would either conquer whatever was in that room or he would admit defeat and let whatever was in there have the bedroom and the house to itself. He laid there for quite some time and thought he heard Lillian moving around in the room. He had left her sitting in the front room with Patterson with a small lamp. In the dark of the room, Bill whispered, "Lil, you better leave the room if we're ever going to get anything settled. It probably won't show itself if there's two of us in here." But there was no answer, and the sounds of movement stopped, but he still felt like there was someone in the room with him. I turned over to look, and the face was inches away from me. It was the most horrible thing I have ever seen.
I'm going to throw up.
The eyes stared past me, and the mouth moved to talk, but only a hissing noise came out, and a terrible stench.
I'm going to throw up.
In a state of hysterics, Bill ran out of the room, screaming wildly. He ripped handfuls of hair from his head as he ran into the kitchen. After a major struggle, like they try, his wife and his friend, they finally were able to throw a blanket over him and wrestle him to the floor. They all smelled the same horrid stench from that night. After about an hour, Bill regained much of his composure and told them of the ghastly and indescribably evil face he had seen. Bill admitted defeat, and they grabbed the children from their beds and fled into the night to a neighbor's home. The following morning, they moved in with Lillian's parents in a suburb of Detroit, Dearborn. Bill said, "All I could think of that next morning was that if the bedroom door had been closed that Sunday night, I would have killed myself beating against it to get out." With the help of friends and family, they were able to find another rental and moved all of their furniture out of the Martin Street house during a series of visits during the day. Lillian's brother, Leo Sanaki, and her sister Virginia went to the house one night to see for themselves if there was any truth to the story that Bill and Lillian had been telling of an ugly hag in the back bedroom. Virginia would say of the experience, "I stood out in the kitchen, and Leo said he was going to lie down on the bed for 10 minutes in the dark. A few minutes later, I heard this awful groan come from the bedroom. If it was Leo, I had never heard him make a sound like that before. Then he came rushing through the door into the kitchen with the most horrible look on his face, like he was scared out of his mind. I asked him what he saw, but he wouldn't tell me anything." Leo refused to talk about what he had seen in the back bedroom of the house at 5508 Martin Street in Detroit, and the landlady at that time would refuse to allow any investigators into the house. I looked it up on Zillow, and the house was listed for sale in 2018, and then the listing was removed less than a month later. I don't know how accurate this story may be after looking this up on Zillow, because you mean to tell me that this couple had 5 children in a 2-bedroom house?
Gotta do what you gotta do.
And we're using the second bedroom as a spare bedroom?
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
The listing shows that the house was also built in 1898, so who knows if there is anything to this tale, but I thought it was a pretty good one anyway. And if on this day that we're recording this, March 3rd, you saw a story that I posted of a song by a band called Acid Witch to my store, I was like, doing podcast research led me here.
I did not see this.
There is a song written about this story. I will play a quick snippet of Acid Witch's song 5508 Martin Street. And it literally just tells the story of that I just told you.
All right.
Through the song. I was shook. I was like, because I don't know. I saw the cover art, and I wouldn't have known that there was this song if I didn't like to read the comments of the blogs. Like, because a lot of times if you go to the comments of these blogs and stuff, there's like people who've had similar experiences or people who have visited some of these places. So I like to like at least look and see, are there comments? Top comment. Did y'all know that somebody wrote a song about this and it came out in like 2015 or something? So it's not like this was like an old song.
Right.
But as soon as I saw that it was like the cover art and it was by a band called Acid Witch, I was like, this is going to be a metal band.
Yeah.
And then it's just screaming the story that I just spent an hour writing at me. And I'm like, I was shook. So anyway, that was Spooky Michigan. You've got some dumb criminals?
Yep. So I got a couple.
We're creeping up on 2 hours for this one.
So I'll try to keep these quick. So a man by the name of Jeremy Fisher found himself in a ton of trouble when he was busted sharing his maple syrup in a less than legal way. The entire thing started when he got into an argument with a woman and her boyfriend in the parking lot of a small business. The initial argument must have been heated enough to remember, because shortly afterwards, when the woman's vehicle stopped working properly, she had suspicions that Fisher was involved. And let's be honest, we all know if someone has a reason to mess with us, they're going to.
Yeah.
So she called the state police to see if they could help her figure out what happened. And so they checked the woman's gas cap and found a sticky substance inside the entrance to the tank, which was later identified as maple syrup. And so later it was towed. The mechanic confirmed that it was, in fact, maple syrup that had clogged her fuel pump, and the repairs were more than $1,000.
Oh my God.
There was an arrest warrant issued for Fisher, and then he was arrested and given a $25,000 bond, and as of this article, was currently awaiting trial.
Oh. I thought you were going to say he's run.
No. Then the next one. Hold on. So this, I'm just going to read what this says. So headline is Jackson area thief stole booze from party store twice in one day. Not like he stole two things in one day.
Yeah.
It said, no, this man watched way too many cartoons and tried to pull a fast one. Now police need your help finding him.
Oh my God. Did he change clothes?
Hold on. Now this story is especially interesting to the person that wrote this because they live in the area. Mm-hmm. So this party store is a smaller store and more out toward the country end of the town. Mm-hmm. So this is where the story does have to make you chuckle a little bit. Obviously, a business being stolen from is no laughing matter, but the way this guy did it, it says, "Sir, are you a Scooby-Doo villain or something?" According to this source, the sheriff's office said our sticky-fingered perp was caught on surveillance footage wearing a black hoodie, sunglasses, and blue jeans in which he stuffed a bottle of booze. Then he left, changed his sweatshirt to a gray University of Michigan little number, and returned to the store to steal some more. Wow. He was not wearing a mask, and
so he came in with the same face.
Yeah. So there's footage, like camera footage of this dude.
That's funny.
Which I think these are rather old. Like a couple years old anyway. I can't find a date on them anywhere, but it had me cracking up. I thought you would appreciate the Scooby-Doo reference there.
That is funny.
This one had me cracking up.
That does sound like a Scooby-Doo villain.
All right, so there was a vehicle accident in Delta Township on a Tuesday morning. When deputies arrived at the scene, the driver was attempting to hide a 4-week-old German Shepherd puppy in his pants. After they got the puppy, the animal control recognized it as 3 recently stolen puppies.
Oh, hell.
And all 3 of them had been returned. However, to the person involved in this incident, why was that hard? This article says, I have questions. Why? What size pants do you wear? Because I don't think I could get a puppy in my pants.
No, definitely
What is
not.
the name of the puppy? Did you give him one? Because he looks like a Gunner or a Sarge to me. And after the automobile accident that required police presence, why was your first thought to hide the puppy in your pants?
Yeah.
Did you crash the vehicle just so that you could hide the puppy in your pants? This brings up more questions that I'm not comfortable going into right now.
Yeah.
Then early morning, state police were called to a home in Marquette County for what appeared to be a home invasion. When they got to the address, they saw the suspect who had taken off into the woods, running into the woods. The suspect was told to stop, and when he didn't, the K-9 unit was called in, and they found him unconscious because he had run face first into a tree.
Oh, no.
So then the last one I have. Oh, this one's short. So a dude tried to rob like a local pizza place and didn't know that one of the part-time workers were there. Mm-hmm. Was a sheriff's deputy with a gun and a badge and 25 years of experience. Mm. So he got it. So there's that. That's all I got. That's all she wrote.
Well, let's keep it short, simple, to the point. You've got the... Do you have the new...
I forgot. So, I actually have 2 that I wanted to share because they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
One is for sure a nonprofit. The other one may or may not be. I couldn't figure it out.
Okay. If it's not a nonprofit, I will, put a note of that. Like, if it's for profit, it's a for-profit.
They're both for a good cause.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell if it was like a 501c3 or whatever. Yeah. So the first one is the Chronic Liver Disease Foundation. Mm-hmm. It does say it's a nonprofit corporation recognized as tax exempt. So this one is.
Yeah.
The foundation is comprised of leading hepatology specialists committed to raising awareness of the effects of chronic liver disease and sharing latest insights and analysis with global healthcare community and patients. So they're wanting to basically provide healthcare professionals and patients with the most current information on chronic liver disease through educational and outreach programs. So they're designed so that physicians, advanced practice providers, nurses, pharmacists, and all other similar healthcare providers have information about the latest medical developments and their implications for patient care. So there's that one. And then the next one is, why did it take me all the way to the Global Liver Institute? So this one may be the one that I wasn't sure if it was a nonprofit. Yeah. But they are there to improve the lives of individuals and families impacted by liver disease through promoting innovation, encouraging collaboration, and scaling optimal approaches to help eradicate liver diseases. So they're looking for liver health awareness to be universal and for liver disease to take its proper place on the global public health agenda consistent with its prevalence and impact. So that
they
one,
probably are a nonprofit.
I really couldn't find anything on the website.
Like, I'm sure that they are.
That said that they were. But I will say I was also looking for this late at night on Thursday. And honestly, these were TJ's idea.
Yeah.
He gave me an idea of what kind of nonprofits to do. So,
yeah.
I thought these were pretty cool.
Right. And they'll be linked in the episode notes.
I also just want to put this out there. And this goes along with being a good human. Please do not make assumptions about someone's life based off of the illnesses that they have.
Yeah.
Because it's not always going to be the case.
Right. Just because somebody is sick with something doesn't mean it's because of another reason.
Because of something that they've done.
Yeah.
So. But yeah. Got anything else?
Nope.
Make sure you're following us on the socials like Facebook,
Instagram,
TikTok,
YouTube, which I think we're almost to 800 views on our YouTube.
Ooh.
So whoever our loyal, we have at least one loyal YouTube watcher who watches like every episode. But like
who watches
some of
one picture and listens,
right? Or they'll just put it on like that. They can cast it to their TV or whatever. But yeah, whoever is over, because the YouTube ones don't count towards our Spreaker statistics.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I'm like keeping separate track of those. So, but yeah, some of our episodes over on YouTube are like have higher like watch counts than others, which I think that is kind of helping me gauge as far as like
what you guys are interested in listening,
right? Which topics get the most clicks. I think the ghosty ones, they tend to, and like true crime ones, of course, do. But yeah, it helps me kind of gauge which I like.
Which I think this new series of things that we've been talking about, maybe.
Yes, an upcoming episode I'm really excited for. I have notes. And I watched it. I want you to know I watched it twice.
I want you to know that I have also watched it twice, but I told you
I watched it 2 days
to fill an episode.
I watched it 2 days in a row.
You had doubts that we'd be able to fill an episode, but I told you that.
Yeah, because I mean, I didn't realize it was like broken down into the 3 separate episodes. But like, yeah, we'll get there.
It's a lot.
Anyway, yeah.
YouTube, email us at
wandersweird@gmail.com.
Yeah, baby. I don't know where I was going with that.
See you next week.
Bye. Ziggy.